And what sort of early intervention would be ideal?
If I was going to design an early intervention program, it's on the basis that each child with autism is unique in their profile of abilities, personality and circumstances. My choice is an eclectic approach, where you take the best of what's on offer from a variety of different sources that creates a unique program for that individual from a multidisciplinary basis that may well change over time, that needs regular review. But it's multidisciplinary, but it's also based, I think, in part on the personality of the child, of who are they, who's the person who has autism, and what would be an appropriate program for that person.
So how would a parent go through everything that's out there and select something that's appropriate for their child?
I think parents need advice from people who work in the area as to what may be appropriate. But I would also trust their intuition. Often parents have been observing their child for a long time. Technically it takes 7 years to get a PhD. So if the child is 7, I say to parents, you have an honorary PhD in the study of your child. You know them, you know their personality, you know their works. That is absolutely invaluable. So sometimes it is intuition from the parent's perspective of thinking, yep, that will match him, or they may equally say, no, no way is he going to do that.
So that's interesting, because one of our early awareness campaigns was called Trust Your Gut, and it was about parents really trusting their intuition in the way that you talk about. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts about how that intuition might manifest itself, because a parent might intuitively feel something but not be aware that they intuitively feel something.
In early intervention, you're encouraging that child to do something that's difficult. Yeah. If you go too far, you're going to have a meltdown. Often what the parent is doing is reading the subtle signals that nobody else will read, that meltdown's on its way, time to back off, or help is needed. And for those with classic autism, I say the mannerisms have a message, and often parents translate that and can read what the child is thinking and feeling using that body language.
So parents use their knowledge of the child and their understanding of the child to be able to intuitively know how best to interact with them.
Yes, but also need backup from professionals to have a variety of strategies, and that's why I say there needs to be a variety. In early intervention, there's not one size fits all. Each child is unique. We need a unique program.
And most parents don't have the facility to create or have created for them a unique program. What sort of advice would you give them to navigate the sea of possible treatments and therapies that there are out there?
Really, this is to do with information. You can get information from the internet, but be careful, because sometimes it's, how shall I put it, entrepreneurial. You've got to be careful. But it's like buying a car. Sometimes you want to talk to somebody else who's driven the same car. Talk to other parents and ask them. They're the unofficial good therapy guide to find out whether it worked or not. Don't forget, their child may be different from the child in question. But I think it's getting as much information and trying it, just seeing if it works. And usually those with autism very quickly let you know if they get on with it or not. But what's crucial, and sometimes is actually more important than the philosophical basis and the technical components of the program, is the person administering it.
Yeah.
For those with autism, they seem to have a natural understanding of what works for them, but more importantly, whether they have a sense of rapport with the teacher, therapist, or person who does this. It's an indefinable, it is a personal component, but you either get on or you don't. And if you don't get on, no matter how good the program is, it's not going to work. If you've got someone who just has a wonderful rapport, it will work.
And so that brings us round to intuition again, doesn't it? To the parent's intuition, because based on their knowledge of the child, they'll understand whether the treatment is particularly working for them, and they'll also understand whether the relationship with the therapist is working for them.
When you say parent, of course, this is usually mum, but it's not exclusively mum. Dads here can have that intuitive understanding. Usually mums have the most time with the child and see them in a range of circumstances to read them fairly well. But it can be, I would hope, a joint decision by both parents to share the load.